So South Korean President Yeol decided to declare martial law in South Korea. There are many reasons as to why this happened. So we're going to play you a clip to give you some background as to why that is the case.
지금 우리 국회는 범죄자 집단의 소굴이 되었고 입법 독재를 통해 국가의 사법 행정 시스템을 마비시키고 자유민주주의 체제의 전복을 기도하고 있습니다. 친애하는 국민 여러분, 저는 북한 공산 세력의 위협으로부터 자유 대한민국을 수호하고 우리 국민의 자유와 행복을 약탈하고 있는 파렴치한 종북 반국가 세력들을 일거에 척결하고 자유 헌정 질서를 지키기 위해 비상계엄을 선포합니다.
We're talking about a full-fledged attempt at a coup d'etat. No holds barred, no half measures. An attempt that will probably see this president in court and perhaps also in jail sooner rather than later. It was, however, a botched, meaningless coup in which many senior military officers had to find out what was happening on television. Following the declaration of martial law, the armed forces were given special powers to detain, seize and search any citizen without a warrant. We're talking about a madness that has caught everyone by surprise, and that, on top of that, with South Korea's own martial law in hand, has been declared completely illegal. Why? Because none of the conditions that the law itself establishes for martial status were fulfilled. Shortly after the declaration of martial law, Army General Park An-soo, who was appointed martial law commander, issued a 6-point decree, basically suspending freedom of the press, political freedom, and also the activity of the parliament itself. Therefore, minutes later, dozens of Army Special Forces units landed inside the National Assembly complex from helicopters with the intention of surrounding and isolating this building. Some soldiers even went so far as to enter the interior of the assembly by breaking windows, an image that will be very difficult to erase for many years, and one that has already made history. The South Korean won, the local currency, plummeted to 2009 lows, and so did the financial markets. Nevertheless, although Parliament acted very quickly to stop the president's madness, martial law could not be lifted automatically, so the uncertainty lasted a little longer.
전 국회의 계엄 해제 요구가 있어 계엄 사무에 투입된 군을 철수시켰습니다. 바로 국무회의를 통해 국회의 요구를 수용하여 계엄을 해제할 것입니다. 다만 즉시 국무회의를 소집하였지만 새벽인 관계로 아직 의결 정족수가 충족되지 못해서 오는 대로 바로 계엄을 해제하겠습니다.
In total, about 5 hours. That's how long President Yoon's coup attempt lasted. It was an attempt to dodge a parliament that he doesn't control, and that is making it very difficult, if not impossible, for him to move forward with his political plans. But what if I told you that the opposition's parliamentary deadlock is not the only reason Yoon lost his mind and attempted this coup? It's true that his government has not had any kind of leeway from the assembly. Everything on this president's agenda has come up against roadblocks. The opposition has even attempted 22 impeachments against officials appointed by this government. And not only has the situation not improved, but it has gotten worse. Since last June alone, there have been 10 such motions. On top of that, the presidential office has consistently done everything possible to block a formal investigation against the First Lady. How do they do that? With their veto power. As we saw earlier, the president has even vetoed 3 times a National Assembly bill seeking to open a special investigation into his wife. For him, this is nothing more than a political witch hunt. The opposition wants to overthrow him, and for that, they use what he loves the most, his wife, as a weapon. But of course, the question is, if he is so sure that Kim, his wife, has done nothing wrong, that she is not corrupt, and that she hasn't committed financial crimes, why is he so determined to try to prevent her from being investigated? The level of irresponsibility demonstrated by the president makes it impossible for him to continue in office for much longer, whether through his own resignation or by means of his dismissal. We can only anticipate his end.
You know, it's easy to say why this happened. What was the motivation behind it? Was it simply to keep people in line?
I don't know. That's one thing I really feel like I have nothing to really contribute to this because I don't really know anything about.
I think you will in a second.
Okay. Why? What are you connecting?
This is the real reason why martial law was attempted in South Korea yesterday.
Okay.
This is the reason.
Because I didn't know. Like, I think there was
South Korea's largest labor union launches an indefinite strike and calls for the president's resignation.
This happened before he called to initiate martial law? Okay.
Do you know the largest labor union in South Korea, what it is?
No, I do not.
The railroad union, Jen.
Oh, good for them. Good for them.
That is why the railroad union, which is treated so poorly in the United States as it is in other places, they are as consequential a union economically as you could possibly have. You could bring a nation as powerful as South Korea
to
its knees.
Which is why it was so frustrating that people were sort of like saying all these great things about Joe Biden for him being such a good labor president when he screwed over the railroad workers, which is arguably would be the most powerful way to shut this shit down. And I bet you their trains are probably infinitely better and safer than ours to begin with. I mean, I would imagine no country that's like modern has trains as shitty as we do.
Well, if we were going to do a tongue-in-cheek reason, perhaps they were trying to convince more of their citizenry to participate in the Squid Games, and the only way they could do it was by declaring martial law, and the only way to get out of it was to participate.
Really?
Over well.
What?
It's just a joke. It's a joke.
Oh, okay. I'm like, that's just silliness.
Totally joke.
But so you're thinking but see, here's the thing though. If the president was thinking that would be a good strategy in order to sort of thwart this from happening, then why would every single person in their cabinet or legislation, I don't know what the name of their legislative body is, they seem against it? So how come he doesn't have anybody that, and again, I'm obviously the pro-labor side of things, but clearly he doesn't have any sort of coalition behind him supporting what he's trying to do.
And Kalaj, you may be right. It is possible that we could have interfered because remember, South Korea is a primary trading partner with us.
Well, look, whenever shit goes down anywhere in the world, my first question is, what did we do? What did we do? I will automatically always think that because somehow historically our hands are in every shitstorm that has existed on Earth since we've been the empire.